Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only, Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and I am back for yet again for the likes of the Mercy Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Donkey Kong Land 2 for the Game Boy. So, last time we did manage to able to complete the forms of the second world in the game, known as Krem Cauldron, which is basically, like I said from the last video, it's a combination of the forms of Crocodile Cauldron and Krem Quarry, all in one particular world, from the likes of World 2 and 3 combined into one. So yeah, today for this video is the fact that we're going to be moving on to the third world in this game, known as Krazy Kremland, and to be expected we're going to be able to go into those familiar level themes from the likes of, let's just say, based off from Donkey Kong Country 2, so yeah, you probably get the idea of how this is going. So without further ado, let's get into the forms of Krazy Kremland, and hopefully we were able to actually get ourselves even more bonus areas to encounter, and especially noticeable with the DK hero coins to be found, rather. So here we go. On to Hornet Hall is the first level on this world, and I believe this is going to take place in the actual Hive. So yeah, let's get to it, shall we? So, of course, if you couldn't tell already about the fact the matter is though, is that I know you guys are probably thinking about the fact that aren't you supposed to be able to go back onto the forms of in Metroid from the likes of the forms of today? Well, me and Mega Man have decided to able to actually do a bit of a different uploading schedules daily routine, because remember how the fact that in the last week I should say, about the fact the matter is though, is that we did manage to able to get done several parts from the likes of not only Donkey Kong Land 2, but also Metroid as well. That usually Mega Man did done 3 parts so far on Metroid from the likes of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And as for me, I've only did done the first 2 parts ranging from Tuesday and Thursday respectively. However, for the sake of the forms of this week this time around though, even though it might actually only happen once by the way, so I just want to classify that right off the bat, is the fact that I'm actually going to be able to switch things up a bit, because, relatively speaking, because Mega Man, he's almost going to be wrap things up through everything for the likes of Metroid, so because of that though, he was expecting that, that he will able to actually keep on uploading for the forms of the Metroid Let's Play at some point, likely on Tuesday and Thursday for this week. And as for me, I'm going to be focusing on the forms of Donkey Kong Land 2 from the likes of not only for the sake of today on Monday, but also on Wednesday and Friday around the same time as when Kirby and the Forgotten Land for the Nintendo Switch will be releasing. So, just want to classify that from the start though. And as far as weekends are concerned, well obviously Sonic the Hedgehog, he obviously already wrapped things up for everything for the likes of DuckTales, the original game on the NES. And then hopefully by that time that some toys else will able to do DuckTales 2 from the sake of the forms of this weekend coming up. So yeah, you probably expected by that, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, we are getting there for the sake of the forms of the actual, not only for its time schedules, but also just the actual recording sessions in general, so, but I digress. So yeah, as you can tell, that we ended up in the Hive kind of like level theme, as you can tell, and basically just like in the forms of how it does it in the regular Donkey Kong Country 2 game, obviously you come across into a lot of honeys that usually just manage to able to get into these certain walls. And just like in the forms of in Donkey Kong Country 2, you can able to actually just jump off the actual honey wall and then try to jump onto the next portion of the honey hole, or honey wall rather. And then basically you can able to actually just try to scale it up, and that's basically how this goes. And if you manage to walk on the honey, you don't able to actually move at all until you decide to jump off. So yeah, that's basically how you get the gist of the forms of this particular level types. So still a pretty cool level theme, I'm not gonna lie, which I'm really hoping that in the new 2D Mario game or something like that, they are able to actually bring a Honey Hive kind of level theme. But apparently though, we still stuck around with the forms of the generic themes like grass, desert, you name the rest. So yeah, with the forms of Hornet Hall for the entire level that we've already went into, that level only has one bonus area, so I just want to classify that. So here we go, on to the next level in the game, which appears to be Target Terror. And basically, we have the returning feature from the likes of the forms of how it does it on the likes of Donkey Kong Country 2. We have the roller coasting kinds of levels. And just like in that game, then basically though, if you accidentally manage to able to get hit by something, you essentially gonna lose your Kong, or in this case, worse death if you're not careful. It seems kind of strange about the fact that from the likes of in Donkey Kong Land 1, that for some reason it does not contain any of those minecart levels to be found. Which I honestly have no idea why, but I'm guessing it's probably because of the memory's limitations with the Game Boy or something like that. But might be hard to emulate with the forms of certain levels every now and then, but at least on the upside with the forms of the Game Boy Advance ports, is the fact that they obviously did manage to bring back, you know, the most iconic levels, including the Game Boy Color version of Donkey Kong Country. So, yeah, you probably get the gist of it, how they factor with this particular topic in mind. So, jeez, I somewhat messed this up. But luckily, we've got the DK Hero Coin, and I get the feeling that this level does have 2 bonus areas. So, we've already found one familiar with Go, and we found another one straight after. So, well, at least to be more specifically, straight after the forms of the DK Hero Coin, basically. So, there we go. There goes another Krem coin that we can able to actually save it up for later. So, yeah, for the most part, these levels are kind of tricky, but it's all when it gets to the point into another level coming up that, oh man, it will be kind of difficult at times. But, I digress. That was it for Target Terror. Now let's move on to Bramble Blast. So, yeah, apparently we're now going to be finally going to the forms of the Bramble-based levels. So, yeah, it should be a little bit more familiar to you for those of you who have ever played, you know, Donkey Kong Country 2 before. So, yeah, you probably get the gist of how this is going on. So, but anyway, a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that today's day is, of course, the 21st of March today, in this case in 2022 today. So I would like to able to discuss some more details about this later. So I think relatively speaking actually is the fact that originally that this particular level that we are playing right now, originally it was supposed to be on the forms of the World 2 from the likes of this game, but apparently it's been moved onto the forms of the third world in this game. So I think that's the reason why that we haven't come across into this level type like this, because even then though, unlike in Donkey Kong Country 2, they get ourselves Bramble Blast from the likes of the forms of Krem. I'm presuming that's what that is, but yeah, forgive me if I managed able to mess things up with that particular commentary and stuff like that, but I do apologize for that. So, oh boy, I just realized is the fact that this level has a lot of emphasis on barrel blasting, so yeah, kind of tricky though, especially noticeable. It almost reminds me of the one of those levels in, you know, Donkey Kong Country, the original game, you know, with the forms of snow barreling blast. So, well, at least as far as I noticed the name, but it's just the fact that it has been I'm not gonna lie, a very long time ago since I actually did manage to last play the original Donkey Kong Country. That's only mainly because, well, relatively speaking, I still have managed able to complete the Super Nintendo version and the Game Boy Advance version, all 100% and everything, but I still have not yet completed the forms of the Game Boy Color version for some reason, mainly because with all this weird physics and also screen crunch at the same time, so I might able to still need to get back into it at some point, but not now anyway though, because we are playing Donkey Kong Land 2 of course, so anyway, so here's the bonus area. I think this might actually be the, oh wait, can I think about it? Bramble Blast only has like, 2 bonus areas. I keep thinking about the forms of another level coming up that's kind of similar to this, except the fact that with a different name. So, hopefully we'll come across into that eventually, so anyway though, few things I want to explain when it comes to the forms of today's discussion, and that is the fact that, well, relatively speaking, is the fact that with the new Mario Kart Tour event coming up, which is going to be, well, it's going to be involved around in, well, I would say going back onto Ninja Hideaway again, and this time around though with the forms of another cosmetic characters based off from the likes of the China, to be more specifically with Samurai Mario outfit based off from Super Mario Odyssey, and also the forms of the Peach you know, Homana or something like that. I don't know what specific costume she was gonna be wearing through, because mind you, I have seen a trailer, but honestly guys, I haven't exactly watched the trailer for some time, and someone messed us up with that particular barrel blasting shot. Oh well, no big deal, but at the very least we got the checkpoint, so... Now I do apologize if my phone is actually getting themselves all notifications recently, because recently I managed able to play through Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Christian Whitehead version, just in case until the Sonic the Hedgehog movie 2 is going to be releasing. So because of that though, I think, fundamentally speaking, before I get into more details about that, here's that very cool trick right there, by simply able to do a bit of a roll attack jump, and then basically just hop onto that barrel, and then basically you find the DK Hero coin from there. So, despite the fact that we still have to deal with the forms of the screen crunch as it is, so ultimately speaking though, is the fact that you can't really tell what's from above or from the bottom, and despite the fact that the entire Bramble-based levels are quite massive as it is, so it's all about just like a massive guesswork sometimes, but I'm sure we'll get the gist of it though, but relatively speaking, after all, we've actually got a lot of extra lives at the moment, so I don't think there's anything we need to worry about until likely later on throughout the game, that it will get a bit tough and difficult in certain, you know, levels coming up, but I don't want to go there, because I get this strong sense of feeling that there might be something over towards this way. Well, at least what I think it is, so... Anyways, let's wait for this little dragonfly-looking enemy to just go by and jump onto there. And from the right off the bat, there's the forms of the last bonus area. So we need to destroy them all with Squawks, the bird. So, or the parrot rather. So yeah, he basically plays out exactly like the forms of how it does in Donkey Kong Country 2. So yeah, you can able to actually shoot those little projectiles at certain enemies if you wanted to, so which will be essential for the later levels. So there we go, that pretty much wraps it up for that particular bonus area. So now we'll just simply well, leave the level, despite the fact that I just got hurt right there, but that's okay, because, well, after dropping down with those 2 bananas, and hopefully we should able to find the level's exit. So, well, after dealing with a serious amount of those barrel blasting segments from time to time, some of them are automatic, and most of the time it's all about timing. So, there we go. That pretty much wraps it up for Bramble Blast. Kind of a cool level, I have to say, despite the fact that we have to do a screen crunch. So, alright, so next level we have is Rickety Race. Now, I believe, if I recall correctly, this level has no bonus areas at all. So because of that though, because, well, you're still able to try to get the DK Hero coin, and to get that though, very much like the forms of how it does it on the console version, to be more specifically Donkey Kong Country 2, basically we need to win the race, and if you somehow manage to win the race, then sure enough you're able to get yourselves a DK Hero coin by simply either just manage to take the lead, or just simply just trying to able to stomp onto those little Kremlin enemies. So like these other few I just managed to get already, so... But again, it's a bit tricky at times, especially noticeable with the forms of screen crunch and everything, but as soon as you get your timing down, then obviously that you will get a chance that you can get yourselves the actual DK Hero coin if we somehow... Oh jeez, that was close. Oh wait, that was a bit scary, and also this level is by far the shortest level in the game, just because you obviously go fast super often. So yeah, that was it for that, and now let's move on to another Bramble level, which this time is Gramble Scramble. And basically that this level does have a lot of like tricky obstacles, including trying to able to climb onto certain vines, and basically just try to avoid a lot of enemy encounters and stuff like that. And also on top of that, I believe this level does have 1 bonus area, so yeah, you're pretty much expected by this point. So, and by that time though, is the fact that after the events of the second world, that I will say that the second world in this game was actually by far the longest world in the entire game, because like I said, it's like a combination of worlds 2 and 3, based off from, you know, Donkey Kong Country 2. So at the very least, it's actually getting toned down with the forms of the actual world's length, for the sake of the forms of, I would say in the later worlds that it gets a bit super shorter. So yeah, you probably get the gist of it. So anyways, let's go ahead and be very careful not to able to get touched by those thorns, including certain enemies, mainly for like these beetle-like enemies, and especially noticeable with those zingers. So yeah, you probably get it, the idea about the forms that have specific things worth noting for. So yeah, because I found it's a little bit odd about the fact that Skorks, and especially noticeable, I still found it's incredibly odd that between Skorks and, you know, Ungard the Swordfish, basically though, it's the fact that those animal buddies do not make an appearance in Donkey Kong Land 1. Like, obviously, the only animal buddies you get from the first game, which are Rambi the Rhinoceros, including Espresso the Ostrich, but still, I found it was a little bit weird, but that's only mainly because of the Game Boy's limitations or something like that, which that might be seems true for some situations involved, but oh really? It's just an O, and in addition with more bananas and banana coins? I guess that's fine, I guess, especially noticeable if you're trying to save the game, because obviously if you're trying to save it for the first time, then obviously saving is free, but after that it costs 2 banana coins, just like in the Super Nintendo installment. Although, unlike the forms of how it does in the Game Boy Advance port of Donkey Kong Country 2, that you get yourselves the actual save screen from the get-go with no extra cost. So, well, apart from the fact that you can still able to use the banana coins to participate in quizzes, and I think that's about it, all things considered. And if I recall correctly, there's a bonus barrel just right over there. So, because I was a little bit worried at first, because I almost barely touched the forms of that particular thorn, but luckily though, I didn't seem able to actually just to barely touch it at all, so yeah, you get the idea of how this is going. So anyways, let's go ahead and climb up and just hopefully not to touch any of those thorns. Oh jeez, I better have to hurry up, because otherwise, if I don't make it in time, then obviously I have no chance but to just re-enter that bonus area again. But luckily, I managed to make it in nick of time, so how's that for that? So, and of course we got the midway point, or in this case the midway point barrel. So at the very least we got a checkpoint. So. And I believe the DK Hero coin is going to be likely almost towards the end of the level, so, but it's just the fact that we have to be super cautious with this areas, because obviously that with screen crunch you have to worry about, but luckily with Dixie's ponytail kind of helicopter ability, then that way it should make the entire level a piece of cake. So anyways, after dealing with the forms of those, you know, zingers that we have to kill, and then I believe if we go over here, yep, there it is right here. So yeah, I believe I kind of think about it, I think we're actually on the halfway point right now for the sake of the forms of those DK Hero coins collecting. So naturally speaking, that I'm pretty sure we're at the halfway point of the game already, I'm guessing so. So yeah, because obviously that well, the game itself might be still a bit shorter than the forms of how it does it on the forms of how it does it on, well, the majority of the Donkey Kong Country games, including Donkey Kong Land 1. Well, despite the fact that Donkey Kong Land 1, despite how frustrating that game can be sometimes, but at the very least the game's length is, like, literally short. But regardless of such, though, we'll have to able to, you know, cope with the forms of the actual short length of certain titles and stuff like that, so. Alright, so I just have to concentrate here, and then just try to avoid, you know, not only dragonfly-like enemies, but also zingers, and hopefully, if we somehow carefully climb down, and hopefully we will find the goal somewhere. So in this case, there it is right here. Nicely done. Alright, I believe we've only got about few levels left, so, and I think the majority of the levels might be in down there, so, Mud Hole Marsh. So, in this case though, I think this might actually be the last time we're going to be able to try to explore the swamp-based levels, because, well, after all, that we've already experienced the swamp levels before, from the likes of the forms of the second world, being the forms of Barrel Bayou, as well as the forms of Crockhead Clomper. So yeah, this is actually the final time we're going to be exploring the swamp level, so Because after that, though, we'll basically move on to those different kinds of level themes, so... But anyways, as far as the forms of Mud Hole Marsh is concerned, I'm pretty sure it has 2 bonus areas, and same applies to the next level coming up, so hopefully we'll try to find those and join at some point. Oh, speaking of such, recognize that arrow formation of those bananas? Well, if you're trying to jump onto those net keys, then basically it'll lead you to the first bonus area, so you just have to collect those stars very carefully by trying to able to not fall off, and then there you go. Easy and, you know, self-explanatory at the same time. So, and thankfully we've got the checkpoint, so we basically know what to expect. So, you can actually decide to able to cheese the whole way through for the sake of the forms of this entire level like this, especially noticeable if you're trying to use, you know, Dixie Kong a lot, because that's the reason why a lot of people seem to obviously, love using Dixie Kong for the likes of the old school Donkey Kong Country games, including, you know, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, because obviously that you can able to actually make these levels a lot comfortable to able to complete. So, anyways, here we have the Cannonball, which just like before, we need to take it all the way to the cannon itself, and then if you do that, then basically it will take you to the second and the final bonus area on this level. So, and while at it though is the fact that we need to dodge a lot of things, ranging from, you know, the actual swamp itself, in addition to those zingers, and then if you're trying to use the actual helicopter ability, then you make the entire section a piece of cake. And also, if you manage to either completed that bonus area or failed the bonus area, I believe you get the DK Hero coin from the get-go, so that's always nice. Anyway, so I think we are basically all settled for the sake of the forms of this entire stage, so yeah, it's that super short. Alright, so I think the next level we have is Rambi Rumble. So I believe we are going back into this particular honey hive environment, very similar to the forms of how it does it in, you know, in Donkey Kong Country 2. Or, potentially speaking, I somehow died because I somehow wasn't paying attention to that, crumb trap right there. So, oh well, no big deal. But at the very least, we actually got a whole bunch of extra lives, in addition to retrieving Dixie Kong in our hands. So, at the very least, we can able to actually just to do that from the get-go. But, yeah, you get the idea about that. So, anyway, as far as Rambi Rumble, as far as bonus areas they have, I think there are about 2 of them. So, yeah, we'll able to actually try our best if we're able to decide to find, you know, 2 of those bonus areas we can possibly find. So, hopefully it shouldn't be that much of a problem, especially noticeable that, again, if you try to able to actually just do the cheating way by using Dixie Kong the whole way through, then you can able to find those bonus areas no problem. So, anyways, let's go ahead and try to scale up with the sticky honey wall and trying to jump onto the dragonfly enemy, which actually leads us to quite a lot of barrel blasting and also the first bonus area. So, basically, I think I suggest you're able to use Dixie Kong on this part because obviously trying to deal with grounded-based enemies is actually a little bit more easier. Because aside from using Dixie Kong would able to also help, but she's really good at the forms of airborne enemies. And as far as Diddy Kong, he's actually really good when it comes to likely dealing with grounded-based enemies, for able to pick up something like a barrel or a cannonball, if you will, and then basically that deals enemies super easily like this. So, yeah, everything's all usually accounted for, but hey. So yeah, as far as I was saying about the forms of the Mario Kart Tour's next tour, when it comes to the forms of the Samurai Tour, which, like I said, they're about to be going back onto the forms of Ninja Hideaway, despite the fact that we've already got that particular track now from the likes of the forms of in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I will say, after playing for a bit, despite the fact that I always have a bit of frustration from the likes of the forms of how it does it on the 200cc, because I will say, that is by far the hardest track to able to race on if you manage to go through 200cc in mind, because obviously with sharp corners you have to able to drift upon, as well as the ending portion, which I'm sure that most of the other toys were able to actually mention more details about that, and during at certain points in maybe, like, not just literally on the forms of the Metroid Let's Play, it could be either Mario Party 8 coming up, or let's just say DuckTales 2 also coming up, or maybe potentially Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Well, At least assuming if that game finally comes out until this Friday. So that'll be exciting, all things considered. So because obviously that's well, despite the fact that unfortunately though that well I've already managed able to complete it. The 3-star rankings from the likes of the forms of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe first DLC pack already. But mind you, we still got a whole way through when it comes to likely not only for the majority of 2022, but also the majority of everything on 2023 as well. So when it comes to DLC packs in mind. So anyway, so if we jump with those, you know, zingers, and then that should lead us to the second and the final bonus area in Rambi Rumble. So, and yeah, just like in the forms of how it does it in Donkey Kong Country 2, basically does the fact that every once in a while we can able to take control of Rambi the Rhinoceros. So, but here's the massive differences this time, is the fact that we no longer gain by chased by the forms of the zingers. So, yeah, that's a bit different, especially noticeable that unlike the console version, well, again, it's hard to emulate, but regardless of such though, go to the left, and then that way you can get the DK Hero coin from there. It's really easy to miss it if for those of you have a first time experience in the level, but regardless of everything else though, I just simply managed to get this by very lucky, so there we go. That pretty much wraps it up for that particular level, and yeah, before we move on to the next boss, let me just quickly go ahead and save our game quickly by popping over to Kong College quickly, so that way we can able to, you know, spend 2 banana coins to able to save our game. So looking good so far for our progression. Well, mind you, I haven't exactly paid attention to the actual percentage completion. So anyways, King Zing Sting. So in this case though, I believe we're about to be doing with the forms of the next boss fights against with, well, as far as I'm aware, much like the console version of the game, specifically Donkey Kong Country 2, basically though is the fact that we're going to be taking control of the forms of Squawks, and basically the entire boss fight is obviously King Sting, or Zing, rather, to be more specific. So because of that though, yeah, basically you're supposed to be able to actually hit its back for about, I won't classify for saying 5 times, as opposed to the usual 3 hits, unlike any other bosses or something like that, or should I say 4 hits, I should say, because I know for the fact that it has been, I'm not gonna lie, it's been about 4 days since I actually did manage to last play this, after when Mega Man just somehow managed to able to get started with the, you know, Metroid Let's Play and stuff like that, or at least that even then, that's so far that Mega Man he is now pretty much at the halfway point in terms of Metroid Let's Play so far, so anyway, so yeah, just like before, that we need to able to aim at its back, but obviously we need to be very careful this time, because obviously, in addition about the fact that every once in a while is the fact that King Zing will able to actually decide able to fly a lot faster, but also because of the screen resolution, this means we can't really exactly, we can able to tell that the actual movement he's going to be hovering all about. So it's definitely a bit trickier than the forms of how it does it on the Super Nintendo version, but regardless of such though, well, it might be seems a bit easier, because after all you do have a little bit more space, but regardless of such though, the hardest part about this is the fact that you have to deal with not only for its aiming accurate shot, but also with the screen resolution. So there we go. We basically completed Krazy Kremland. So yeah, I can't believe I somehow managed to dominate this so far. So, despite I have some few deaths, but regardless of such though, whatever. So anyways, we'll get endings off here, so join us next time for more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Land 2. And that is the fact that we are moving on to the 4th world in the game, known as Gloomy Gludge. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Later, fellas.